I am Brandon Carey, aka New Dark Cloud. Joining me as always is Brandon Jonley, aka Aldowyn.
Hi, that's me.
And Will, no last game given, also known as Anaphysik.
That's me.
And we are playing Alpha Protocol. It's a game made by Obsidian, as an obscure company. I doubt you've heard of it.
Do we need to introduce the game? We've been doing this for like 3 months.
Already starting off by forgetting what all of the buttons do. Perfect. I love it. There we go. And where we last left off, we were
in the middle
infiltrating Marburg's manor, and this guy can't see me from the hole from across the room.
Looks like
so that's
I'm entering
fun.
a cafe.
It's kind of the opposite of infiltrating. It is the opposite of infiltrating. We're actually exfiltrating at this point. But yeah, Mike voluntarily gets captured so that he can go in, get some information, and himself out.
Yeah.
By the way, a secret in this room, in that it's basically impossible to notice unless you look around for it like a madman. You're going to want to go to the second floor, then turn left.
First.
No. It's important for me to give directions because, like, 40 seconds from now, you're going to be following them in my stream. Right? Yeah. So from here, you've gone upstairs now, I assume. So you want to turn left and then walk down the hall. Yeah, I presume that you've done it by now. And then you'll turn around.
First, I gotta hack this safe. As I'm getting shot, because apparently some guy was still alive.
I'm only like...
Okay, so... yeah, I think I'm also not that far. But, fast hole between you two. I find the lockpicking game really fun. I don't know why it's terrible, but it's satisfying.
It's actually, I like it a lot too. Although it is a lot easier on the PC because you have very precise movement.
Much easier to do it with a mouse, like I'm sure.
Yeah,
but
it literally just you move the mouse up. No, first aid.
I always like the timing of like the Skyrim lockpicking. Not Skyrim. Which one?
Technically started from Fallout 3, but it is lockpicking in Skyrim as well.
I'm thinking the one that you do the pins in. Was that
Oblivion?
Oblivion. That's Oblivion.
I actually kind of like that one.
No,
I know one. I do
actually quite like the Fallout one. Never played Fallout 3, but I played it in Fallout New Vegas, and which is good. So was the hacking minigame. I thought the hacking minigame was quite good.
Yeah, that one's interesting because it's a lot more than just like looking for the password, which is what you do here.
Yeah. Yeah, I did like the Fallout. The only problem with the Fallout hacking minigame is that it takes a bit too long. Like, it's kind of like Pipe Dream from Bioshock, where the game isn't bad, it's just like, it takes too long, and you can do it often enough that it becomes a bit of a hassle.
Okay, yeah, so when you get to the end of that hall that you just ran away from... Alright.
So, we're back at the end of this hall.
Yeah, so there's two briefcases. One's on a table, that's the easy one to see, but one is behind a chair.
On that back wall?
That chair is to the left of the staircase. To the left of the staircase at the end of the hall, make a 180-degree turn. It's important because there's Halbeck there.
At the end of the hall. Yes. Here. Got it. I got the other one while we were talking.
Yeah, that one's just money. I don't care. This one's Halbeck data, and it's extremely easy to miss. There's another one that's extremely easy to miss in the museum, which I'll point out when we get there.
Well, the museum's fun.
But yeah, I think it's important to see most of the Halbeck data because they give you insight into like the things and the various like chicaneries that they are up to. And actually, like reading through a bunch of them recently reminded me like that I kind of felt like I made a misjudgment back in Original Disclosure Alert, what I was talking about. Oh, it doesn't really make that much sense for Halbeck, which is this old school, like Cold War defense company. Like they build missiles, right? And that's our very initial contact with them is the Jacob's Ladder missile system. But as a lot of the Halbeck data explain, and in fact, specifically the Rome hub explains, Halbeck is actually doing a pretty good job of trying to branch out and create new market opportunities and respond to some. They're a little bit behind the curve on some markets, so they're trying to boost those markets.
New market opportunities. That's a good way of phrasing it.
Yeah.
That's a very colorful way of phrasing it, which, is fair. That's probably how Leland actually says it in his sales charts.
I know. I got +1 reputation with Leland for that.
Yeah.
There's a sniper rifle right next to you. The problem with the sniper rifle is it's impossible to use.
I can't aim it, so I'm not going to bother trying. Actually, no. We will give. Oh God. We will give this a shot.
This ought to be interesting.
I'm not actually sure if the mouse sensitivity affects the sniper rifle at all. I know it doesn't affect it if you change it while you're in sniper rifle mode, but I feel like it might change it before the I tried before the sniper rifle mission. Yeah, before the sniper rifle mission earlier in Rome. I did try changing sensitivity a bit, and I did find that it seemed, maybe just confirmation, but it seemed slightly more usable when I turned the sensitivity all the way down to 0 +1 tick.
Wow.
Because when it says 0, you literally cannot move the camera, actually.
That's hilarious.
So where...
Well, I don't know why you do that, but okay.
Where do I go from here? I thought it was
Good.
a linear corridor.
Excellent. You got to go downstairs. Yeah, this is actually... it feels like there should be a zipline up here. But yeah, you actually have to go... You just have to go back down the way that you came and go out the bottom floor.
Yeah.
You just needed to go to the top floor to get the Halbeck data. It's actually somewhat poorly designed there, except I'm going to say that it's not, because I actually feel like the Marburg Manor is pretty good as far as quote-unquote linear go, in that it's number one, this non-linear part right here. But it is actually like a manor that connects between the places. Like when we started out and, you have to go out into the little like balcony side bit or you can go to the balcony side bit after you check the voice messages. Voice message.
Spider, by the way, in the chat, that is the worst sniper rifle. Like,
it's the worst.
Part of it is because I'm playing on PC. Like on consoles, it's not that bad. Like on an analog stick,
but I don't know what the heck they did with the. I don't understand how it could be that bad. It is, but
it's a sensitivity problem, like pure and
yeah, clearly. But did they just not? Whatever.
Anyway, my point is about this area is that you can actually like see further stages or previous stages of the map as you progress through it. So, like the courtyard that we're about to go out into, number one, we could see it on the sniper rifle platform, but also you could see it earlier in the game when we went by the piano room, and that upper level of the piano room looks down onto that courtyard. Or like the place, where is it? Very early on when you go out into the balcony, you can look down, you can see mountains off to the side, but you can also see this lower kind of open stone area that you end up wandering your way through. And so it actually, like, the map kind of checks out.
Especially if you compare this to like
makes it feel like a real place.
Russia. If you compare this to Breaker's Mansion in Russia, where like it actively feels very disjointed to the point where you're actually if you actually look at the map, you're going back to places you already visited in. Like, But here it feels much. There's much more a sense of much more coherence to this map than in Breako's. Like in the very same game.
It's also different than something like the Taipei G22 warehouse, which I think is probably set up to be like one place, but it doesn't feel like it because you don't get to see the other parts of the place. Like it just feels like a whole bunch of endless corridors. Yeah, I feel like in general, the Rome like level designs are some of the best, and we're actually going to get to one later today, which is another really nice one because it's a very small level. The warehouse, the RP warehouse.
Yeah, this game is actually like when you do like very small, very limited levels, the game is actually like fairly well designed. It tends to be some of the bigger, longer maps that falter.
Well, often they just feel like a filler.
Yeah.
Like the ruins mission that we're gonna do, that one feels just like filler to me.
Yeah, exactly. Like it feels like you're just doing this because this is arbitrary gameplay. Like you need to have X number of gameplay. Before.
Don't forget to go down the secret passage.
The garden hose.
But
I believe it's right
but the
around
game is
here.
paced.
It's actually way back further. It's up the stairs. It's and easy to miss.
Oh yeah, you're right.
But it's surprisingly short for an RPG, even though it doesn't feel like it.
Yeah, here it is.
Feels like it's paced more like a I mean, I guess it's like roughly comparable. It's a little shorter than like a Knights of the Old Republic,
I believe there's Alan Parker
which would
until
go to like.
There's Alan Parker's secret fact there. I cannot believe that is like about the same length as KOTOR, because I'm pretty sure KOTOR takes 1,000,000 hours to play.
I mean, I've played it a bunch, so yeah, it's like 30 hours, and this is
there
like
we go.
less than 20.
Secret
So it's half the length.
secret fact.
Those
Alan
games were
Parker.
longer than I thought they were.
You want to go ahead and pull up that Alan Parker secret fact, because it's highly plot critical, actually. Because it starts to give away one of the big kind of endgame bits, or it's funny because it's actually like a plot development that is either really easy to get, really kind of obvious, or probably like you might not get it at all, entirely depending on how much you acted with Shahid back at the beginning of the game, and especially later.
Is Parker? Yeah, here is Parker. So.
But Parker's secret fact is that he knows that Halbach has suborned spycraft apparatus and government apparatus, and he's chill. He's just chill with it.
Secret fact: Alan Parker has agreed to work with the Halbach Corporation at the request of the privileged few in the U.S. government who know if protocol exists.
Oh.
He completely understands the reason for the alliance, and no compulsions about attempting to erase all evidence of the stolen Halbach missiles in order to gain lucrative contracts with the United States in any future way, nor any hesitation about erasing any agents that are in his way.
And in fact, in the conversation with Marburg, one of the dialogue options, we didn't see it, but one of them has you criticize the plan. It's like, how is Leland supposed to, like, his plan is flawed because it's made by Leland, who's never lived outside of a limousine.
Sarah's saying I'm kind of quiet on my end.
Well, you don't sound quiet to me, but I wouldn't say that means you sound fine.
You're quieter than Willow's for sure.
Boost my audio a little bit, and
I mean, I do think that like all of our audio should have been boosted for all of the episodes so far. So.
I can reduce the game audio too if that's necessary.
Well, that just makes it quieter. You have to make us louder.
I can do that, sure.
I mean, on the YouTube vids, it's pretty bad. Like, it's all quiet.
Unfortunately, yeah. The problem is that all the game audio and your audio are all in one channel.
Oh yeah.
And we can't tell the difference because we can't. I'm not listening to the game because it would be too confusing.
So I can reduce the game audio a little bit.
I mean, it was confusing enough, like looking through that sniper rifle on the stream. We don't want to hear it move about.
Oh god, yeah, that sniper rifle sucks.
Well, now you're just making everything quieter, unless you boost everything all around.
Right, I did. I boosted that whole channel up. That includes you.
Oh, okay. Okay, then I'll talk quiet then.
Yeah, there's not a lot I can do about it at some point.
Anyway, in the earlier conversation with Marburg, has Marburg admit that, like, Leland is not some grand, brilliant strategist. Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Because what actually happened, as he says, that Leland provided the goal, another provided plan, and I provided the means. And that another who provides the plan is Alan Parker of Alpha Protocol.
Yeah, on behalf of the U.S. government.
Yes. And one of the really cool things you do in the end game of this is show to Alan Parker that he made some miscalculations.
Yeah. We won't get them in because we kind of antagonize Alan Parker in the early game.
Oh yeah, If you have negative rep with you, he just doesn't believe you.
Yeah.
You have to have some positive rep in order for him to be like, okay, yeah, this is information that only you could have, but you could be bullshitting it. But I know you're like a good enough analyst that you're probably not, and I should probably actually be concerned about this and check it out myself.
And then he does the numbers and goes, oh fuck, I fucked up. It's Let's fix this, I guess, because otherwise I'm gonna be a bit of.
Well, the way to fix it is help Mike download all the Alpha Protocol servers and then both of them GTFO and go their separate ways.
I still think my favorite way to get Parker to turn is, oh, by the way, you killed your daughter.
It's pretty good.
So how is that for your great master plan? Your daughter's dead because of you.
Which we can talk about. Do you want to talk about that now, or do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, sure, we can talk about that now. So as I was saying in the last recording,
you did want to talk about it.
Madison St. James is like the world's biggest series of coincidences, all like folded into one.
Didn't we cover this last week?
We didn't talk about it in detail.
Didn't talk about it in detail.
Oh, okay.
Because we said we did say like for she just happens to be working for the VCI, just happens to overhear Marburg talk about Michael Thornton in like a way that implies that he's in danger, and just happened to be like a good enough person to want to do something about it. She's also Alan Parker's daughter.
Yeah, that's the part where the coincidence.
And she just so happens to have used specifically Alan Parker's work desk to do some internet searches on Mike Thornton.
And she did not intend to do that. That was a complete accident. Without
knowing that was Alan Parker's work desk. She didn't even know that Alan Parker worked for the VCI ever, which he did.
Yeah.
as an Alpha Protocol plant.
She furthermore knows nothing about Alpha Protocol whatsoever. As far as she is concerned, Mike Thornton is just a dude.
I mean, I don't think she knows that her dad is a government analyst or anything.
No, she doesn't. She knows nothing about Protocol whatsoever. So, like, she just happens to walk into one of her father's schemes on complete accident and totally derails it.
And just, like, I don't even think that's, like, a bad thing, because the game plays it as this total random coincidence where, like, at the end of the game, you know, if you reveal to Parker that
oh, you misunderstand. I don't think it's a bad thing at all. I agree with you.
Yeah. But like Marburg, when he finally finished, he's like, she was his daughter? Like, what? What? Yeah. My goodness.
I also love that
Parker's devastated.
Especially if he realizes you totally told Parker just to get Marburg on your on his bad side.
Yeah. That's the only way that Parker could have known, basically.
Yeah, so let's blackmail Halbeck with this information, which is about body armor that basically doesn't work after the first shot.
Wow. Prolonged exposure to sand.
Wow, okay.
This is one of the few mentions of, like, I forget when we talked about it, but this is mention of the Iraq War.
Yeah,
which is one of the few times that actually gets mentioned in the game.
Well, thank you for the cheer. Twitch chat. Thank you, Justin00 for the cheer. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's one of my IRL friends.
Cool. Thank you for joining
so
us.
I think Cleonia is also in the channel.
Yeah.
And so is etc.
Cleonia is actually the one that did one of the vintage drafts that you saw.
Oh, cool. Yeah, those are really fun to watch. Let's see, do I have any new intel to buy? We got a bunch. Okay, we got like a whole set of missions, so yeah.
Yeah, because you get 2 new missions from this. You download the data from our computers, and you found some more VCI nonsense, like what they're planning. These are the 2 missions that give you the end game. And really, one of them actually gives you the end mission, and the other one feel like doesn't do anything, but you have to do it just to unlock it. So if you want the plot to make sense, you should do the ruins first. If you want to show how the plot here doesn't make sense, then you should do the ruins second.
Why don't we do... Okay, ruins second is what I'm hearing.
Go ahead.
Ruin second is what I'm hearing.
just a ruin plot.
It's like when you don't do Vermeer last in Mass Effect.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I just need to go to Therum now for some reason.
Uh,
Well, it does
you
have a justification.
you do still need to go to you do still need to go to them. I mean, you still need an expert, and you still need an expert on Prothean technology to mind meld with you, as it turns out, to try and figure out the thing. So
Yeah, there's a
uh,
technical reason. It just feels weird because Vermeer is Vermeer.
there's like not just technical reason. I mean, there is like a um, plot related reason that you would need to.
Yeah. Okay. So
And not just checking boxes, but actually like it fits
Yeah,
into
yeah.
the story thread, the narrative threads too. But also like it unlocks the final key. That's one of the really nice things about Mass Effect 1 is that each of the hubs really do like give you a turn of the key towards getting to the
piece of
conduit.
vital information that you need to get the whole puzzle fit together.
But it's not
Yeah.
always a thematic turn of the key. It's just like this is a piece of the puzzle that we need to find the conduit.
Yeah, this is literally a MacGuffin.
Yeah.
Well, even then, the only one that feels a little weak like that is the Pharos one. And even then, that feels very like classic Star Trekky. Like it doesn't base in like the Mass Effect lore
Isn't
so
Theros
much.
a Magic
But
the Gathering plane?
I said Pharos.
Oh. Oh, you said Theros. It's like, I know you like Magic, Will, but we're talking Mass Effect here.
Yeah, I can't keep them straight either. I played those games.
I'm sorry, Burden.
Let's see. Oh. Or I guess I'll just accidentally hit the EMP use button. That's fine. And I actually didn't want to do the keypad minigame right now. I think it's my least favorite minigame of the 3 infiltration minigames.
Oh no, hacking is by far the worst.
It's also the easiest, so I guess that's not even true. But it's not hard.
None of these games are hard if you put enough levels into them.
The two idiots one keyboard hacking minigame is the easiest.
That one's
You've got wizard eyes.
No, I'm just confused. Like I was mixing the two of them up. Which one? When do you do the one where you're like following the trail?
That's the keypad.
Minigame.
That's the one that you just skipped.
It's not, I'm not saying it's hard. I'm saying I just don't want to do it.
Yeah, the hacking one is the hard one.
Yeah.
Especially when you have two like people jabbering in your ear.
Anyway, this mission
know about that, Aldowyn.
This mission is really cool. Well, I know about that because I'm having two people in my ear right now, and I'm having to hold down one key. I can't imagine having to hold down multiples. My goodness, I'm gonna have to find out how that is in Charlotte. But yeah, this mission is really cool just because it's a little bottle mission. Like you stumble upon action going on, and this is a set. There's stuff going on here, and you can bumble your way through it or sort of sneak your way through it. It's very difficult to sneak your way through just because there's so many people who can see you.
Yeah.
Although I suspect it's possible to ghost through it. It's also strangely like it's implied to be timed, but I am quite that it is not.
Yeah.
The police are going to arrive after some time, but I'm quite certain that it is entirely
I think
triggered.
there actually like is a timer, just a very lenient one.
Because I'm pretty sure, like, as soon as you hit the computer upstairs, Mina will tell you that as soon as you get to they're on their way, and then as soon as you finish hacking it, she'll be like, all right, 1 minute. And then as soon as you hit the stairs that you were on 5 seconds ago or whatever, or the opposite side stairs, she'll tell you only have a minute, and Michael say, want to get the thing off the body. I think he says it actually after you leave the computer. And I'm pretty sure you can just stick around all you want before then. But even though it doesn't have the strict timer, it has the feeling of that because there's guys coming in here, they're shooting. I don't think you can hear police in the background, but you get the sense of urgency from his communications. Like it sells it very well as an environment and as this like very unique place that you don't kind of see anywhere else in the game of, an active battleground. You do see it. I feel like there is another time, like between you can see it between the VCI and the rando Russian mafia dudes
the hard version
in the train yard.
Of the PFAB minigame easier than the easy.
Yeah, I know. You mentioned that
might
before.
That might just be you, to be honest. But yeah. Yeah.
Well, the art warehouse is being used to smuggle weapons in Arctis, and that's being handled by all these BCI goons. And they're doing—I forget if they're doing. The Russian mafia guys are I think there for another reason. They possibly been backstabbed with each
Yeah,
other.
I believe they were just raiding this warehouse.
They're actually Surkov's. They're actually Surkov's men.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. Either raiding it or like the VCI is interrogating the Surkov's guards, the Surkov's dudes to wonder like what's up with.
Yeah.
What is up with our missile shipments in Moscow? Because Surkov is trying to back out of all that. So there's a little bit of in-family squabbling going on.
But this level does feel a lot more dynamic. We were getting at that before, because like it's weird to see people in this game like reacting to other people in the game. Like I guess there are points where you have like people on your side, but that feels.
Whoa! Those doors open. Oh, I've never seen those because I've never waited around like an idiot for the police to arrive.
Yeah, police actually do arrive at some point.
But I know that they do that. They just come in. Well, I have actually seen them come in the door. I accidentally kicked the door down onto one of them once. But I take it that they didn't see it. What? I mean, when you kick down a door and there's somebody behind it, they get knocked down to the ground.
Oh, they don't.
And I just naturally kick down every single door.
Right.
Because that's what I learned that from Aldowyn, actually.
You just Rambo in. That's how it works.
And the best place to do that is the one we just went through, Marwo's Manor, because all of his glass windows shatter when you kick them down. They're amazing.
That's good.
Cloud, you want to be suave here.
Okay.
Do not choose the fourth option.
But I think I've mentioned this before, but one thing I do really like about Alpha Protocol is it at least like tries to tie in like the different factions to the different zones. It doesn't feel nearly as siloed as most games with a similar structure do.
I noticed you had medical supplies.
Yeah, like how you get like G22 crosses over between Taipei and Moscow, VCI between Moscow and Rome. I guess you've got the thugs between the Russian mafia between Moscow and Rome as well.
Mm-hmm.
Guess I heal fast, along with the good skin. My mother for that.
Okay, look, etc. They chose this beard for a reason.
We chose this beard together as a group. Don't you back out of it, Will.
Oh, well, I didn't know this, but etc. has actually seen all of Disclosure Alert. So, etc. should know the saga of the lumberjack beard.
It's iconic.
There was a time, like it took us a long time for Aldowyn to actually like take it on and be like, okay, we'll just put it on for one mission, and then it eventually just became, and then we take it off and put it back. He wore the soul patch a couple of times, which was especially infuriating. And
it offends my.
We always kept the same glasses, but we changed. Mostly used the backwards baseball cap, and I think we changed the hat to the Ushanka. We kind of did the same thing as that, but it took us a long time to get the lumberjack beard in the original Disclosure Alert.
Yeah.
It is nighttime now, by the way.
Yeah.
And funnily enough, by the way, if you, can't because you don't have any other hubs unlocked, but if you did have hubs remaining and you buggered off to like Moscow or whatever, then came back here, it'd be day again.
Oh, cool.
So, but the thing is that kind of it's actually more relevant after the next mission where the bombs are about to go off in the museum the very next day. But it will be day again, and I don't actually know if that's intentional or not.
I took a huge loan against my 401k to pay you. Wow. That is a very that's a very early 2000s.
What was the
This was about the body armor.
Yeah. This one's a great one too. Because the reason this is a real thing, by the way, that companies do when they do actuarial work on whether it's worth it to do a recall or pay out damages. And in this case, it was recall is going to cost 550 million or something. Damages are going to cost us 400 million.
It's literally
right? Assuming
like which line is higher. We'll choose the one that gives us the lower line.
Yeah.
And so the only way to beat that is to make it a big PR disaster for them, which you can have the possibility of doing if you send it to Scarlet. But obviously, I don't think Scarlet ever actually does anything with it. Maybe she is unclear.
Yeah, because she's the
She's on Halbach's payroll.
yeah,
Um,
like assassin. We've talked about this during the Taipei
and
hub.
and much, it's actually much more than that. Like Leland will talk about her at the end of this when he talks about like, yeah, I can't expect you to follow the news. Like I've got an entire division devoted to following news events. Not to mention my ace in the hole. And I think if you've in Taipei at that point, Mike will interject with like, "You mean," or if you figured out something, it'd be like, "You mean," and he's like, "Not now, not now."
We'll get to that later.
Otherwise it doesn't. But I mean, Scarlet does do more than just shoot some fools.
Yeah. So now that we've discovered what Marburg is doing, we gotta do this ruins mission.
Well, so we did the art house museum. So the ruins mission, I really feel like doesn't contribute very much. If you don't have Madison there to kind of bounce ideas off of after you've done both of these missions, then Mina will be the one that tells you where to go for the final mission. But she doesn't actually have like a long spiel about it. Like she doesn't give you an in-depth of this is why I think this is going to be the thing this year. She just says there's going to be an explosion. Nice, like explosion, a bomb. JC, there's a bomb.
So because we bought the intel early, like I bought I spent a couple $1,000s on intel just to avoid the first fight.
It's actually just $900, and you just contacted Al-Shahid. You should have checked their intel email because he gives you a good one too.
Yeah.
And it says, "Remember the time I didn't kill you? Well, now's the time." And he gives an email back saying like, "This is all blind trust." Did you kill these people? Did you kill these people? Oh, you didn't kill them. You can shoot these people anyway. They will not react. They're not programmed properly, so they won't like turn on you. But if you kill one of them, a little pop-up in the bottom left appears. I showed this in disclosure alert because it's really important. Like it's this cool little insight. Oh yeah, if you can kill them now, that'd be really interesting. I don't know if you can. I know you can't jump back over, but yeah, try it. Anyway, it should pop up -1 reputation with Al Samad, which is not how reputations work on this game.
Right
Reputations are by individual.
That just happened.
It hasn't shown up for me yet. Awesome.
Yeah, there we go.
Cool.
So it's a hangover from something they had before.
From an earlier build in the game.
Have
faction reps.
Yeah.
And
I think
now
the
that's been
decision to change that from factions to individual characters to represent that faction was probably for the best, honestly.
It makes a lot more sense in the way that this game works.
Probably, although I do wish that there were more characters like that for you to like with Alpha Protocol. There are multiple characters, like there's Parker and Yancey and I was going to say Ann Westridge, and our arch nemesis Darcy.
Like different flavors of the same faction,
There's different flavors of the same faction, and I think that's good to have.
I mean, they do have
I guess there's kind of Z and Marburg,
and Sis and C and Marburg.
Those look like Marburg.
But like, I see we being where they could have more diversity in that.
But I'm gonna find out.
Because you never really see like power struggles like inside other factions.
They are kind of like buddy. There's no like interpolitics between members of the faction. I guess there is the whole C hates Marburg and Marburg hates her, and they both are working for the VCI.
Yeah, but for instance, you can't make most static character in the game, Sean Darcy, turn on Westridge because of the fact that Westridge specifically took him off of several cases, right?
Yeah, you can't play with that.
Because he bowed to that pressure. You can't play with that.
Yeah, but they are there.
Because one of the things about this game is that
whereas, for instance, maybe you couldn't do that with Parker, but it makes sense for Darcy.
Mm-hmm. But one of the things with this game is that all of those have to, like, every situation like that has to be put in the game individually, because this isn't like it's not a systemic game, right?
Yeah,
it's just a bunch of different variables that are very complicated.
These are all scripts. These are all like a bunch of scripts like piling up on each other. Which, when you think about it, like, it's a miracle this game even functions properly.
Etc. just preempted my comment that I was going to make. Etc. asked, was Darcy the prickish agent? And I was going to say, no, that was Mike. But then he says, I mean the other one, considering Thornton. Wait, hold on. Thornton? With an N? Oh, apparently etc. is Sean Darcy.
I feel like he did on purpose.
The martial arts system in this game makes no sense whatsoever.
It would help if you actually had points in martial arts.
Shut up.
You know you have submachine guns, so you can actually kill them slightly slower.
Or just shoot them in the face. That works too.
Point blank shot.
It's a thing in this game that some people say Thornton with an N, but
And
it's
some
actually
say
Thornton
Thornton.
with no N.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a poster on Mike's wall that he can get from Darcy.
Wait, did you just
Said
get
he misspelled my
$100?
name.
Why is
Thornton.
you have $150,000?
He Dark Cloud made fun of this last time too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter.
That Moose just this little pit this path is annoying to get out of. Although I do like the little architectural pit. In fact, we're coming up on a entirely filler section, I would say, which is actually probably my favorite part of this entire mission.
It's probably where they kept the fires to heat up the bathwater.
So.
In that we're going to go down here. Amina's going to talk about a little backstory, and they're going to have some little banter back and forth. We're going to go down to the creepy catacombs, and it's just a pure like exploration-y thing.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, I think this calls back to the embassy mission in Moscow. We had a discussion about like tabletop games and environmental exploration, and you guys argued that that's much easier tabletop games. I actually think it's the we go back to the videos and see what was actually said or whatever, but I actually think it's the opposite. The video games are much easier for casual exploration of environments. They're much harder to create. They're perhaps harder to create those environments because you have to get all the asset textures. But once you have those, as a player, they're actually very easy to navigate, take in at your own pace, look at the details that you want to look at. You just see them as a stroke. You get a feeling from it, whereas that feeling is created by the player, basically. Whereas in a tabletop game, you have to like describe every single bit that you want there to be focused. And I think it's very hard to actually do casual exploration because what do you say? Like, oh, there's more of the tunnel and more of the things on the wall.
Like it's like the only hard if you had to have a whole paragraph to describe what the hero was looking at.
Yeah, I mean, the way that I normally see people do descriptions is like sometimes you'll have really florid or extensive descriptions, but most of the time you're just trying to get the feel of the place, right? And then like you can talk about like how the like you enter a room that's different in some way, that's noticeably different, and then you describe that. So it depends on your style, but I definitely see what you mean as far as like the process of exploring. Like you're not.
I think we were coming from more of like to build the world. Like it's easier to build the world.
I mean, obviously
in an RPG because you don't have to actually like build it physically. Whereas in a game, you're right. Well, it does take more effort to actually like craft the level, but once you have, it's a lot easier to explore it. I will agree with that.
Yeah, and specifically thinking from a player perspective, and I'm thinking that from comparing as a tabletop DM, that I find it difficult to hook players with just simple casual exploration like that. It's kind of a difficult thing for them to do. You want like very specific interactable objects or environments.
I don't think the kabooms happened yet.
We've set the charges for the weapon cache. We'll see the kabooms later. And in fact, the number of kabooms on the final screen differs depending on how many charges you set.
Oh,
they actually blow up in the right locations.
That's a cool little detail.
Oh, by the way, we missed it, but did you know that where those columns are up above, you can actually get up there?
Yeah. I think I've gotten
there a couple
times.
Okay.
On accident, but I have gotten up there.
I just got there earlier today, and I was like, I just saw that. I think I actually also got this accidentally. Because I was trying to leap a different way, and it left over there, and I was like, what? You can get up here?
I'm suddenly wondering what this game would be like if it had like reasonable movement mechanics. Like if it was more of a
oh man, this game would be so good if I could
like Dishonored, right?
Normally.
Man, if we could bunny hop everywhere.
Or just, climb shit that didn't have specific prompts.
I've got a link to all the transmissions.
Oh, I see. You're not a gadget user. See, before I hack this, I always go around and launch of incendiary bombs and whatnot.
Yeah, I don't have any gadgets, so I'm just gonna shoot. We're just gonna have a shootout.
Then
there's a first aid kit right in front of you, by the way.
I've definitely put EMP bombs all over this place before.
I have, yes. I just don't feel like it. I mean, we're on easy, so it's not like it's gonna be.
Oh yeah, you'll just be able to shoot them all. Like.
Oh, did you mean shock traps instead of EMPs?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'll go ahead. So EMPs are the. EMPs are the best gadget because they allow you to skip the hacking minigame when you want that. They're also the most expensive. But the really annoying thing about them is so you can buy upgrades to your various gadgets, which I've actually done in my fairly heavy gadget run, because you get to carry more first aid kits, you like longer duration epinephrine spikes and stuff like that, which is actually pretty useful. But the EMP upgrade is very useless because most of those upgrades give you bonus items, the bonus number of items that you can carry. The EMP one does not. The EMP one only increases the duration of EMPs, which is not what people use EMPs for.
Yeah, you use it
like
to
you
hack.
can
use it as a cheap
you
hack.
can use them to destroy turrets basically, or to like negate turrets for a small while, but no, you use them to cheat hacks. And being only limited to 2 for the entire game can be very tedious if you just had enough of the various hacking minigames.
I wonder what this game would be like if the shooting parts, like the action parts, were turn-based. Like if it was like XCOM or something. I'm just curious what that kind of game would look like if you just had one person.
I wonder.
That would be very different instead of having a squad.
What if all the shooting bits were dialogue based though?
That would be extremely cool, actually. Like,
That's suppose what I've suggested in the past for a game like this.
Right now, like I don't know if you play Tales from the Borderlands. There's this whole section where you and the employees of the office are having a finger gun fight, and like when you say what if this was a conversation, like that is what I'm imagining is like Michael Thornton and all his mercenaries having a fucking finger gun fight, like a QTE.
Yeah, that sounds right. But I was thinking like more like a choose your own adventure or interactive fiction.
Oh yeah, I know what you meant, but that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Oh.
I choose Blammo, by the way. Definitely Blammo. Also, it took me a while. I was trying to figure out the earth-shattering kaboom, what that was referencing. It's Marvin.
Erasing my tracks.
Figured it out.
I'll choose Deca. See, you wanted big boom booms. You wanted the big bada booms. You got the big bada booms.
Boom, gotta get that. Boom, boom, boom. Gotta get that.
Please don't.
Too late, already did.
We can edit in post and make it louder during that section or something.
Oh, you're talking about editing. That's funny. That's a good joke you made, Will. I like that. I like this sense of humor on this guy.
See, this is why it's actually happening. Because none of us have to edit it.
Like, no joke, seriously. Like, this probably wouldn't be possible if I had to do if I had to do serious editing.
That is.
Like, I could probably chunk this up realistically if I wanted to, but actual editing skills,
that's not even editing.
That's not gonna happen.
Okay, so Cloud, I would like you to be aggressive in this entire dialogue option. So check on her. Be aggressive. Right up until you see the option kiss. Kiss as the aggressive one.
Serious?
Don't choose that one. I'm serious. Do not choose that one. Choose leave instead. Number one, you were going to see. Just keep doing this, no matter how wrong this may seem. But yeah, just keep on being aggressive until you see kiss, and instead of choosing kiss, choose leave. There are 2 important things here. One, we're going to see some. Actually, there are 3 important things. One, we're going to see some interesting dialogue. 2, we're going to see some interesting dialogue. Part 2, and 3, we're going to see like a weird little look into what I suspect was an earlier build of this safe house.
I don't want to inconvenience you anymore. No, I was stupid enough
I'm
to stay and help someone who
still looking at Mike's fashion choices that we've given him.
It's off the do-rag.
Yeah, it's bizarre. It looks worse without the do-rag. Because he's just got this haircut underneath, and then this massive
Don't you ever
beard
touch me like that
and the
again.
weird
So help me.
glasses.
Good night, Madison. Rest up. We'll need to be ready for tomorrow.
Oh.
All right, so I just let you know if you chose kiss there, that just starts the off-screen sex.
Yeah.
Like from there, that just like clear rape scene. And then if you choose leave instead, she's like, "Oh, but wait, you could stay here. Hold on, you can be rapey if you want." I guess.
Much. Don't leave. I want to fuck you.
Perk acquired, gentlemen. Just wanted to point that out.
Yeah.
So now when we get the I think, pretty fucked up dialogue. If you imagine, like, if you had chosen Kiss, and Kiss that just he leans forward and then she makes some noises, and there's a fade to black, and that's super uncomfortable. My goodness, like that's that thing
Oh,
you can
God.
just do there. After those previous dialogue options and like physically grabbing her and threatening her. And then secondly is the like super reversal of as soon as you leave, she's like, oh, but wait, hold on, I need to be abused, hold on. Which is also super uncomfortable. And then the third bit is she says, you can stay up here tonight, meaning that this bedroom in an earlier build was probably on the upper floor. So they must have gone through multiple different safe house designs and were probably still redesigning them after they'd already recorded all the final dialogue, which is kind of interesting.
Sounds like we're not going to get the Madison secret fact from the sound of it, unless oh yeah, I guess we have to go actually to the mission where she can get kidnapped. Because spoiler, she gets kidnapped.
Yeah, surprise.
Hold on. Check your dossier.
All right. On Madison.
I think
Yes.
there might be is Taipei is the bedroom. There's a bedroom like up the stairs in Taipei, right? Am I remembering?
No, it's downstairs on the lower level. It's the smallest bedroom. Sorry. The upstairs one is in Moscow.
Okay, I
Yeah,
just
I don't
forgot.
have any. I don't have the
75%.
secret facts.
You need to redo the ruins mission.
No, I
You
don't.
missed it. You missed her. You missed her. Okay, but don't you want her secret fact to do the endgame stuff? The ruins mission is actually really easy to blow through. Just don't bother with the side caches. I've actually run through it before. It's very short. What you have to look for is it should be immediately next to the comm link, the upload thing at the end. You want to look immediately to the right of that, and there should be a briefcase there. And it has Madison Intel in it. I have no idea why there's Madison Intel in there.
All right. I'm gonna. Okay. Yeah, this shouldn't take long. I just gotta breeze through it. Yes, this is just before the. This should be just before.
Yeah, etc. Asked if we wanted to be a huge tease with Madison there. No. I wanted to show that dialogue because it is very, very uncomfortable, and I wanted to show that is a possible dialogue, and that's not even counting the one that, again, I told you not to choose one of the particular ones. So there's actually two very uncomfortable roads to this.
Yeah, that's really bad. So where's Madison information again?
Right at the end of the mission, right before you start the uplink, after you do it to her, but it's the briefcase to the right of it. I don't think there's anything else that important here unless you want to go to the XP of the three things are hardly out of your way. So just
I'm probably gonna get the
I would
because I know where they are now. Like I'm not gonna be looking for them, so they're literally right there.
But yeah, if you don't fiddle around looking for like random safes that I don't think contain anything of particular value.
I think I have enough EMPs where I might just be able to hack most of the safes just by bypassing them.
Don't need these.
I have enough money. I can just replace the EMPs I use.
Yeah, you've got a shit ton of money at this point.
Yeah, I mean, because we were talking about earlier, money is kind of worthless in this game.
I was trying to remember because some of the equipment sure does cost a lot.
Yeah,
but it doesn't actually.
Once you get a decent suit of armor, though, like you don't actually need to buy a handgun.
Yeah.
Also, most of the guns, like, they go up in price exponentially, basically, but you often are fine with just a tier 2 weapon.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're still using, like, I don't think I've actually bought a new pistol this entire run. I think I'm still using the initial, like, pistol.
But that's the kind of thing that makes balancing the economy or resource economy very, very difficult. Is like not knowing how much your players are going to buy new things, because it's not like a Final Fantasy game where you have to keep upgrading your weapon or it won't.
Or like we talked about it like when we started, the actual like weapons themselves aren't really necessary. Like upgrading them, I mean, it's hardly something you need to do.
I mean, the whole system is unnecessary. Like,
here's an interesting question though, because here's the one place where I could see it as being fairly helpful. if you started with basically endgame weapons in Saudi Arabia, because you're entirely funded by Alpha Protocol, and then you went to a short segment where you were like on the run thing, not at the safe houses yet, and you started with like real shit weapons. You got real shit weapons immediately after that, and that would be the cutoff. And then narratively, you find the Yellow Brick Road equivalent, right? All the Alpha Protocol safe houses, Mina directs you to them, so you might be there for a very short while, and you get decent weapons.
Mm-hmm.
That would be a way of like narratively showing different values of, and by getting back like very very good weapons as soon as you find Yellow Brick Road, showing how Alpha Protocol can be used
So
against
just to
itself anyway.
clarify, when I get to the actual like final computer before Hackett, it's not too late, right? Like it's in that area.
Yeah. It's in it. Yeah.
So I
You can actually grab it after you hack it too. It's just you might be a little
we're
occupied
gonna
at that
get it
point.
before we hack it, just to confirm.
Yeah, it is immediately to the right of the computer.
Ancient Roman
You can check your dossier right now for Madison. Actually, that would be smart.
Must be the ghosts down.
It should be at 75%
Yeah, but not from.
because you bought the intel for her and you got the intel by the piano in Marburg's mansion.
Yeah, it's 75% right now.
Okay. Yeah, it's fine. You missed this one. Like when I was doing my test runs of it, I found like, I can't. Oh wait, actually, I can't get the intel. I can't get the secret fact from her on this one, and it was because I was running through this mission so fast that I forgot to grab the intel at the end because I was just blasting through this mission, running through it, just like just to do it in 2 minutes or something.
I love when you just step back while they're swinging and they just completely whiff.
Yeah.
Fun fact, by the way, people who have audio of this game, so not me and Aldowyn, can hear the lights flickering noise.
Yeah.
And on a veteran playthrough, Mike will hum a sinister tune according to what the subtitles say. We got this in Disclosure because we were playing veteran then. And it's in the credits. Yeah, we did it credits. But that tune is to the tune of those flickering lights and the flickering hum.
But one thing that I would probably have done with the weapons is like have them have like you do attachments. So like you have to have certain attachments. So like a silencer gives you options that not having a silencer you wouldn't have them.
There really isn't a reason to not use a silencer.
But I mean, it does. It makes silenced pistols.
Yeah, except for like not.
You mean like a power?
Yeah, or like in dialogue options or something like that. Like there are things you can do.
Oh yeah, actually, when I'm talking about how it will make all combat dialogue based, it was meaning things like, use silencer in this case, so you can
use silencer to do a stealth kill.
Use silencer to do a stealth kill. Although real silencers are actually more like suppressors, so to speak. So they muffle it.
Calling them silencers.
Yeah, really, they basically make it harder to distinguish the actual location of the fired shot. It's typically what it is.
Is that it? Yeah. Okay, I totally missed that. First run.
Yeah, it is very easy to miss. And again, I'm not actually sure. Some intel locations make a fair amount of sense. This one, I guess it makes enough sense because these are our VCI guys.
This is the VCI. And
their intel thing, and Matt has already gone rogue. Yeah. And Madison's already gone rogue from here. So it does still seem strange. Like, getting it in Margaret's Manor makes total sense. Because she's been to Margaret's Manor and is one of Margaret's personal assistants.
And yeah, there's 100%. Personally. Perfect. Let's go. Now let's have a shootout with the boys. I just blew with my EMPs because I don't feel like doing those minigames a second time.
I just stand here and wait?
Now you know how I feel. Just make sure nothing interferes with the station until I finish the trace.
Then? What then? We've got trouble, don't we?
Protect the trace, Mike. If we lose it now...
Don't worry, they're not getting anywhere near it.
I think a lot of little banter between me and Mike about the handler role. Like, now I know how I feel, just sitting and waiting sometimes. Yeah. There's one in Taipei as well, where Mike finds some shockingly, not surprising, honest, intel in Hangzhou, And they go, you better be sitting down for this. She goes, well, it's one of the benefits of a desk job.
Oh yeah. Also, I just want to comment on that guy jumping like 10 feet. Like, I feel like that whole scaffolding would have collapsed if he did that.
Yeah.
It did not
No,
look-
no, no.
It does not look very
ancient
sturdy.
Roman. It's ancient Roman scaffolding.
No, it's not.
These are in the row. It's ruined Roman scaffolding. I'm sorry.
Okay.
It's only survived, 1,500 years or whatever, possibly
It's scaffolding.
at worst.
Like that's
These
stuff
ancient
that's there
Romans.
for restoration.
Sure, I'm sure. Incidentally, we have
sure.
like.
Oh my god, I
we
got
have all this-
stepped on. I got Goomba stomped.
Oh, you got stepped on?
I got Goomba stomped.
Stasis.
Oh, it does look a lot like it exists, doesn't it?
Well, you got stasis in this very level as well. Back in Disclosure Alert, you got knocked down by a shotgun, and you landed on the ground. You were like, wait, no, I have full health. What happened? Instantly, all this restoration stuff. At the very beginning of this level, there are like posters, just adhered onto the columns right at the beginning. They're like posters for like music gatherings and stuff like that. It is very funny. I don't know if that's actually accurate to Roman areas, to areas of Rome. I don't know.
Got it. We're good, Mike. Transmitting the information to the safe house.
Why don't any of these people
Like,
have
I'm not sure. Well, they actually probably do.
Mike, what did
Not
you
on
do?
their head, though.
Racing my tracks.
But they should probably do in that they probably have more health or more endurance.
Do you mind if
Than
I
the-
use something
than
more
the
palatable
awesome
with Madison
podcast?
now that we've seen that already, Will?
Sorry, what?
Can you use something that's not like completely dickish to Madison since we've already seen that?
Oh no,
once
absolutely.
already?
No. I just want to. Oh no, I just want to show that.
Yeah.
So this time you can be aggressive all the way and then choose kiss.
Yeah, we're not gonna do that. I don't want to have an uncomfortable rapey scene
No.
on stream.
My favorite way through this conversation, you start aggressive, and then she's like, "Well, you don't trust anybody," and you go, "Okay, I'm sorry because I'm being a total right now," and then you wind up being professional at the end. So you go start aggressive, go suave, and then end professional,
Okay.
and it ends up with a really nice scene.
But I found what I was looking for.
Was it enough?
I think it makes for a good emotional beats between them.
That they won't respond in time. I have to do
I
it.
usually just end up choosing one stance throughout the entire scene for the most part, but yes, that actually sounds like a decent
Shows his involvement.
point to point to
The
point.
police? Don't you get it, Madison? The police try to stop this and Halbeck will walk away. I need to catch them in the act. The more public their capture, the more damage I can do to them.
I'm surprised you trust anyone to do anything.
I don't.
That goes for me too, then, I take it.
No, I didn't mean you. Look, it's been a long day. I just got tired.
Yeah. No, I didn't mean apologetic one. Yeah.
And I appreciate
And then
you
I
warning
think
about
the
my-
next one should be like professional or something.
You had such a nice smile in the photograph.
I was smiling. Must have been years ago.
Yes, so I actually do the opposite in that I
You should do that.
Oh yeah, they got the really nice line about the smile. Like I really like that line. It's a very very cute moment between them.
I didn't mean to wake you when I
Um,
We've had a rough couple days.
You didn't wake me.
I think it's really hard to tell because there's actually a bunch of ways through this conversation. So it's kind of like it's not just a single node, the next node, the next node. There's like a set of interlinking nodes, and some of them can spiral back to a few of them.
Everything. Now I'm gonna let you get.
But
back to
yeah, I think you want to be
You're not
professional. Yeah.
taking the couch again, are you? There's room on the bed. You don't have
And
to, gentlemen.
this is by the exact opposite of the prior scene in that
Things are
it's
going
consent that's sexy.
only tense. I wouldn't want that to cloud the issue by sleeping with you next to you.
Is that your way of
And you
telling
see,
me, like,
he's not a gentleman because you don't get the gentleman perk this way.
I'm fine. And I want you to stay here. Now.
Sure, this is fine.
Yeah, like I think that's a pretty good scene.
Yeah, that's a good.
I mean,
They're just like slowly leaning.
It's real awkward.
no,
and
no. I think they should have faded to black before there were any body motion animations because those look
Those
atrocious.
look
But
hideous. Yes.
It takes
Like
work.
it's
That much
no
work, in my
like
words.
I mean, it's creepy,
it-
but in a way that the creepy is badly animated. Not creepy as in like there is some unfortunate rape implications.
yeah. Except for something that's much less creepy. Just true.
It's my mother's maiden name.
Um,
Father and I had
yeah, I really like that one, and
recording of the
quite the opposite of Cloud. That's actually the way to go through most conversations in Nova Protocol is by choosing multiple different stances during it, because you can often end up with like an interesting like, emotional beat. Like in the Contact Madison scene, the way that I like to start with is like, okay, tell me. Just start at the top. Tell me what you're doing here, and then she tells the and you go suspicious on her because you're like, well, that is actually pretty suspicious that she just found this information laying out. So you grill her on that, and then after some of that, it becomes apparent that no, she is not a spy. She has no idea about it, and then so you kind of just like break and go into. I think grateful. I think is the next one, which is great because it actually has a great breaking moment in there when like Mike's like, all right, fine. Look, I know Marburg wants to kill me, whatever. I just need to know. You know, how to get into his manner and stuff like that. Like, you know, I'm sorry for being a jackass, but that's what I have to be as a spy. And so you actually end up with some interesting conversational moments. Funnily enough, there are actually a few conversations where if you stick to one stance, the dialogue flow does not go well. So I don't think they actually like intended often for you to stick to one stance.
So
I think they didn't intend you
two
to go
really big bombs that each haven't been paying attention so far. A, first off, Alan Parker is her father. B, Alan Parker got an offer from Halbeck after she left the VCI.
That doesn't make much sense. The warehouse was on the outskirts
So
of Rome. There's
that implies that
storage areas
Parker
that
and
use.
Halbeck are connected.
Yes, and we actually already knew that because of the secret fact. But if we didn't, then this is another way.
I could call up the inventory and see if there's
And Madison is also the one that figures out one mission ago what the hell is actually meant to go up with. And if you so we didn't mention this here, but if Madison hates you, if you've pissed her off, when you come back here because she thinks that you've kidnapped her, right, or you're holding her hostage,
she'll
right?
use a
She thinks
shock-
you're just as bad as me.
She'll
Hit you over the head with a statue and then a shock trap because hitting your head with that statue is movie stuff, as Mike declares. And then she leaves, and then it's the one to tell you like, oh, there's going to be an explosion soon. But Mina has an extremely short scene. She doesn't go into detail of like how they got this information, which in a few of the other missions, like they actually do. Or like this scene right here with this non-spy person, non-analyst person, like she actually goes into a pretty good logical reasoning for why they would be targeting this particular place. And, you know, she has we've already got a stout knowledge of what she would know about museum and artwork because that was here an art student, right? She worked at the museum. And it fits in with this prior mission very well. So this is clearly like meant to be
It's
this
one of
thing
those
together.
things where, it's very clearly meant to be Madison is the one you're talking to, but they have to have that out in case you decide to piss her off.
Yeah, but the problem is that they didn't develop that mean of conversation properly, so it's just a very, very short dialogue.
I'm willing to bet they didn't have time to do it, if I had to guess.
The other possibility is that they that Madison leaving was a later decision too.
Yeah.
But yeah, probably just not much time.
Yeah. Going back to something we were talking about earlier, you were saying that like it
Dirty
didn't
notes and stuff. Sorry.
You were saying that it didn't flow very well if you chose the same option every time.
For some conversation I
Yeah,
found.
but you have the opposite problem sometimes, where you choose an option and then you choose a different option, and you just end up seeming like you're completely changing the flow of the conversation.
Yeah.
You're a crazy person.
It can be very difficult to figure out which is which.
I mean, in some ways, I think
Problem
that's
solved.
a intentional part, and that fits into the Mike is using stances to play people in some ways. Like that's one of the possible interpretations of it. And for that one, going crazy person mode between mode, that is, kind of psychopathic. That is quite reasonable for that. Like that is kind of how you might play someone until you find a mode that works and then you stick with it. Now, in practice, the game doesn't actually do that much. Just because for some people you don't have enough interaction with them. Like for Mina, you get a long enough interaction to know Mina generally responds negatively to
Sis,
aggressive.
For example, like,
With Sis,
who the
you
fuck
have
is Sis?
one conversation to deal with her. And actually, none of those stances have an effect on Sis, by the way.
No, I have no reason to upgrade my weapon, etc., because the weapon I'm using is perfectly fine. And honestly, like the higher tier weapons don't provide that much benefit.
Oh, hold on. Can we get that on record? Do dark things. SMG is perfectly fine.
I mean, it's a perfectly fine weapon if you want to go in loud and not at all stealthy.
I just don't know in what situation a pistol or a shotgun would not be superior to an SMG in this game.
Oh, I know. One situation. Well, the shotgun looks pretty good too, but you want to pull out your SMG, and then
That's
you want to
okay. I'll pass.
stand still for. You want to stand still for a while.
Is there like an idle stance?
There is an idle stance. Yes, indeed, and it is amazing.
Okay, I do kind of want to see this
Okay.
after you shoot everybody.
It's fine. You'll want to pull out your SMG like while you're having a conversation, like if you can. Let's see, where's a good place to have it? The place that I first saw it was in the Parker dialogue, the analysis flawed type dialogue. You're going to want to face it so that you see Mike's face and his hands.
How long
Yeah,
is
How
this?
long do you wait? While the dramatic fight music is on in the background.
Oh,
You
is
can't
it?
hear it, so it doesn't matter.
All right, that's really funny. I just turned up the stream volume to figure
Here
out.
it is.
And literally, as I turn it up, Nerd Art Club goes, as the dramatic fight music is playing on the background. No, that wasn't it, actually. There's another one.
Oh, that's cool.
Now, it's possible that this other one only plays while you're in conversations, because that's the only time that I saw it. I didn't see it on my own gameplay, because, my goodness, why would I choose SMGs? Are you crazy? But I did see it on someone else's.
Is that it?
Nope, not it. You want angle the camera down so that we can see Mike's face, by the way.
I feel like he's probably not gonna.
The other down. Yeah, that's the down.
I
mean- Yes.
Okay.
Was it worth it?
Yeah, that was worth it.
We spent like a solid minute, just sitting there watching Aldowyn play.
Oh, by the way, meanwhile, civilians are dying. By the way.
That'll be fine. Just a flesh wound. More importantly,
Okay.
did I miss stuff over here? Is there stuff to acquire?
It's just XP.
Okay.
I mean, you can turn off the cameras. Also, I'm echoing.
The security guards might need this later. Why would I turn them off?
Want the security guys to see their own incompetence on record?
Yes.
Okay,
Fuck
well then,
these
yeah, leave them on.
idiots. Yeah,
Also,
actually,
whoever
like
designed the
when I'm
security
playing the
camera.
game, I will choose pistol and assault rifle as my two
Well,
weapons.
duh. I mean, shotgun is a better. Like, you can use shotgun for a short range weapon. I can't remember how well the assault rifle works in short range.
Fairly good at short range as well.
For my weapons, I I carry pistol and shotgun, and I never use either, and I just punch people. It's not entirely true. I use shotgun for some like boss fights, because it's actually a good interim weapon. It's a good interim to fire off a shot in between punching people. It's good for like staggering bosses all that. Also, I think the shotgun looks the coolest being held in his hand. That's why I use that one out.
Shotguns are good. I agree.
Oh, Aldowyn sold me on shotguns from Disclosure Alert. Like, they actually quite fun to use and quite decent. I just found punching to be better. Sorry, jump, knee kicking, whatever, you know.
Yeah, that's extremely fun.
I mean, Goomba stomping is in fact very fun.
I
They
can't
made a
believe
whole
you
game
got-
based on it. It's called Mario.
I
Mario
can't
is
believe
not
you got
about-
Goomba stomped.
That's just the side. That's just the
Oh, come
Ancillary.
off it, Aldowyn. You that Mario is steeped in the oppression of Goomba stomping.
I didn't know how bushy of you, Aldowyn. I can't believe it.
You have to stomp on the
How
Koopas.
bougie of you.
How bougie of you. Nice.
But you could have like, how many Goombas do you think you jump on in a speed run of Super Mario World?
Well, I don't have the speed runs.
Entirely too many.
Because speedrun will often skip through past stuff. Like they'll only be jumping on them on the ones that line up exactly right. Like during a normal playthrough, you're going to jump on a lot more, I would imagine.
Yeah, that was my point.
Yeah. But the Goombas are an oppressed class. I can't believe you wouldn't sympathize with an Aldowyn.
See, the thing is that Mario is just super high, so it's extremely impossible to tell what's going on.
You're not going to read the emails?
Yeah,
I
you just
guess I
walk
can.
past. You just walk past.
You just unlock them and just
I got the XP. What else do I need from that?
Okay, fine, all right. That's
That is
legit.
not-
I can't
That
complain.
is not how you play. This game. Like, if you're not reading shit, like, why are you even playing Alpha Protocol? This would be
Because
a very
I've played
boring-
this game 9 times, I've read it all.
Yeah, but we're man.
No, I'm kidding. To the evac point, she's to be stated in no circumstances should be injured unless you hear a change of orders, and that comes from Marburg. Cool. So they have Madison alive with orders not to kill her just yet.
I note that is specifically like that becomes important later at the end of the thing. That Marburg has a specific purpose for assets or hostages. And if that specific purpose has been met or has missed its opportunity to be met, then Marburg is not very flexible with these. He chooses. I always try to go in the elevator. I just like stood around that elevator looking around for the buttons. Where's the button I can press? What goes next? Now that's where the moves come out of.
I feel like
Yes,
you're
it's,
supposed to go through the elevator.
Is there anyone in the
yeah, it
museum?
really does.
It's normal hours. A few tour groups, security guards. It's a light day for tourists. But that's still a lot of people if the bomb goes off.
I won't let it.
By the way, you are coming up pretty shortly on another Halbech data that is extremely easy to miss. When you get to the room where Mina's going to tell you that, oh, they're killing the civilian guards, like you're going to hear gunfighting in the other room, do not enter that other room yet. You want to search. It's going to be a light gray room. It's not quite there yet. I do like these little environmental story bits, by the way, where you find dead guards. Like
Yeah.
that's just really nice. Like it's a little good hint of the bad shit has already started. And it's also nice to coincide it with Mike deliberately asking, like, hold on, how many people are actually in this building today?
I'm glad that Will like knows where everything is because I sure as hell don't.
Sounds like Marburg's men are attacking the
Yeah, it's in this room. So
Found it.
before you enter, okay, great. It's just really easy to miss.
Is it in one of the shelves?
Picked up data disk.
Okay.
I like the fucking museum music juxtaposed to violent gunfight. That's really funny. I appreciate that kind of. It's like the Ave Maria moment. Assume you guys can hear the actual game audio.
Yeah, I just turned it up just to check it, just to remember. But yeah, it is. That poster, that advertisement, by the way, that was right in front of your face 5 seconds ago, over. It's for Dino Air. Dino Air. Travel with us. See the world.
That's good.
There's all sorts of like funny little advertising bits that clearly. I wonder if they reused them from like previous assets or if they bought them like just like stock market. There's stuff downstairs, by the way. It's like
Yeah, I know.
actually you have to
control
go
of
downstairs
beds.
because it's vitally important that you open that safe.
Maybe it was just
Yeah.
asset
You
designers.
see,
set designers
there were
who ordered one.
$8,000 in this safe
That's
at this
money
like
that I'm leaving on the table. You understand? It's
no. That is $8,000. This small little museum cafe that you have just robbed from. By the way, that is not mook money, right? That's not villain money. That's
That'll be
stealing
fine.
from
It's
Marburg or
fake.
something. You're stealing from the museum, the probably like non-profit museum.
that'll be fine.
I'm sure the government they have insurance or something probably.
It's the Italian government. I don't think they have anything.
Ooh.
I'm just kidding. They didn't had they hadn't had anything. So many governments ago that you count. Like it really doesn't matter. But yeah, Dino Air. I just noticed this on my recent playthrough level. It's great. Dino Air.
Dino Air.
This is a great little
Hey,
poster.
look, Marva must love this statue.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Level up before the ultimatum.
Yeah. This checkpoint, by the way, that you just reached is really odd in that so it's a natural place to go back to if you want to make the opposite choice here.
Yeah.
But if you load this checkpoint, all of those mooks spawn again downstairs, start killing the guards.
It's beautiful.
That's funny.
Yep. Anyway, we're about to get the
We're gonna
Big
choose
choice.
to save. We're gonna choose to stop the bomb.
bomb. Bomb. Well, okay, so you want to look to your left and to your right as he gives his little explanation, because you see the poster, you can see the signs. Look left, look right, west wing, and east. So you get a choice: move left, go left,
You're right about
and
that,
save
Barbara.
the girl, or go to the right and do your mission
Right there.
and stop the bombs.
There's also
Save
a
the girl
third
that you
choice
possibly
to
want.
acquire currency behind that locked door over there.
That's actually the choice that you should. It's a currency and intel actually. It's very critical on Marburg. You want to take it.
Which way should I go?
I don't know, Mike.
It was actually a problem. We missed it in disclosure. Learn in a second. Anyway, you can turn left and go to the girl, or turn right and go stop the bombs, as your mission is foretold. And specifically in this case, the girl's one that we are romance with. A number of people have commented that this might be like a little subtle nod at left suave, right is professional.
Mike, they've sealed off the entrance
Huh.
to the other wing.
Guess there's
And I actually thought, like, I've been thinking about it. There's actually like two other places at least two other places in the game that you could apply that same sort of like
There have been papers of interference on the channel.
meta design to. Like, you know, it might be intentional, or it might be kind of like
I'll keep an eye out.
subliminal design.
Oh,
Two other places. Sorry, what were you going to say?
go ahead.
Or it might be like, you know, just hilarious reading into eisegetic type stuff, right? Which
Yeah.
I'm totally fine with. Like, this is kind of an amusing thing to point out and to speculate about. The first one is back in the gray box. Back in, you know, the original, when you're going through the various tutorial bits, you get a left, a front ahead of you, and a right. And the right takes you to the very professional Parker. The left takes you to the very suave Darcy doing gadget training. And
The
the
very professional
forward
meaning
one,
doing aggressive weapons training.
but it is weapons training, which is pretty aggressive. And I actually feel like they might have originally intended Yancey to be one to do the weapons training, because Mina doesn't actually like deal with that much later in the game. Like, she doesn't profess like a particular expertise about weapons. Instead, she's much like broad knowledge base that she possesses and a very good analytical mindset. Like, she's actually much more like Parker, just not as sociopathic, I guess.
She's got a heart.
Yeah. She's got the heart and the brain. There's a email from her if you flirt back with her in the email, where she starts off with a little bit of humor about it. If you're joking with her, she starts with a bit of humor about it, and then she goes, "All right, now I have to go update some like my auto indexing programs or whatever, because I don't want to show too much emotion, because you can't show too much emotion in one email, or else I'll lose my reputation as the frigid bitch of the office."
Hey.
So she has a little bit of humor about it. But yeah, the forward ahead would be aggressive training, and I think there might be some speculation that maybe Yancey was originally intended to head that as well. And the other place is the hubs themselves. The first hub you start in is Saudi Arabia, and we've talked about before, like how the hubs kind of have a feel to them with the stances. Like, Rome is a very James
Okay.
Bondy one.
I guess I'll die.
Right. I guess he'll die. Rome we've often talked about as a very James Bondy style one, very suave style. And there were the 3 JBs based on it: James Bond, suave; Jack Bauer, aggressive; Jason Bourne, professional. And like, if you had to assign another If you had assigned stances to Moscow and Taipei, what would you assign to them?
Taipei is professional, I would say. Rome, I guess, would be aggressive. I guess Rome would be more suave, more James Bond. I guess that would give Russia the aggressive bend because because of Braco.
Yeah. And if you start in Saudi Arabia, well, to the left of Saudi Arabia, suave is Rome. To the north of Saudi Arabia, up aggressive is Moscow. To the right, east of Saudi Arabia is Taipei, professional.
That feels like it might be
That's a bit of a stretch, I think.
It is. Oh, it is. But I think it's just funny that you could read that in there. Like if you wanted to make a thesis about those stances being part of the game, I think that'd be a reasonable one to talk about. Like it's a very subtle one, but it's amusing enough that I think it's. I just think it's amusing. Also, we get to see the friggin' elephant. Yes, I forgot about the elephant.
Is that like supposed to be one of like Hannibal's elephants?
Yeah, I believe so.
Sure looks like it.
Actually, should it? Because they're bombing the Crusades exhibit, so that doesn't actually make any sense.
Oh, I guess it could be an Egyptian.
It must be. It must be like a.
I don't feel like hacking.
Oh no! I always just run in here and use the EMPs on these two things. It must be like a version of War Elephant. I will say that this place doesn't feel super like a museum to me. Like this room feels more like a museum, but a lot of the places do not. Like there's not that many artifacts lined up. We mostly see paintings and the architecture of the room, but of the place itself. But that's not part of the museum.
Maybe it used to be something else.
She doesn't have enough endurance,
Maybe.
I guess.
Yeah, I mean you could take like 20 shots, and she just got one. She's an NPC. That's what the problem is. It's like in D&D when you have a commoner. And they have like 2 HP.
I know you had feelings for her.
Killing her makes no sense.
I feel like this would be a lot sadder if I actually had the sound on.
It will.
I love that line that Mike and like the way that he gives the delivery of killing her makes no sense, because that is, I think, one of the ways that a player could definitely feel, because like look, I've defused your bomb, like your hostage doesn't actually matter. Like that's a way to like cut through the knot, so to speak, of right, oh, it's to save the hostage or defuse the bombs. It's your choice. Well, if you defuse the bomb, there's no point in holding the hostage. And Marburg's comment to that is, well, I have to enforce my villainy somehow, right? I have to make you hurt it.
Honor before reason, I guess.
And as he notes there a bit, like in hindsight, this will make sense in that they do need to have people die in this museum in order to make it like, sold as a stoking the fear of terrorist attacks in a major European city, which is what this whole thing is about.
To strap it to you, I would have in a cold minute, especially after what you did to Madison.
Like this is one where kind of no matter what, Halbeck wins this one. Either they set off a bomb or a bunch of people die in their attack. Although it's unclear how many actually die. Like the news focuses on Madison, which, by the way, is going to be really funny, I think. But, well, funny, peculiar, or funny, haha, or both. Maybe just both. There is an attack option in the dialogue, but it does not start an attack. It does not actually pull out a gun and shoot. For some reason, Alpha Protocol has this... No, it starts a, hey, are we done talking now? We can like get on with the murder. And then Conrad Marburg gets in the final line of "I've had enough of this" or whatever. How is?
Let me check what the actual use skill button is again, because
I don't know. I bind it to G.
You'd be able to just murder him. So
I bind it to G for gadget.
Q. It's Q.
Oh, for use skill. Yeah, it's this Q. I thought we use
to paint them to death.
But yeah,
that's quite over.
Oh, really was? Yeah, Marburg is by far the hardest boss fight for someone playing with my playstyle of punch 'em up, because Marburg has the best combat defense, and he deals max damage with punching.
What's that in dog ears?
Even if you escape,
I like how you shot him in the head 6 times and he's just bleeding.
Keep talking.
Randomly.
Well, you would be bleeding if you got shot in the head, wouldn't you?
Yeah, but not like that.
Yeah, we didn't go into a fatal duel, but that's okay.
We did it in Disclosure a little.
Yeah, that's true. You can always watch that.
There's nothing you can do now, Mike.
I think you weren't suave enough mostly, and you didn't choose enough chance to piss him off here.
Yeah, I also went for the bombs, and he likes it when you do your
He
job.
does like that, yeah. Which is another little funny bit, like he sets up this, choice between doing the thing or saving the people, right? But he actually wants you to ignore the saving the people bit. Like, he personally wants that. From a professional perspective, as Leland explains, or so Leland claims, Marburg wants to. Leland says that Marburg wants you to go save the person. Oh yeah, I actually Leland's lines here are actually pretty good. Like they're bullshit, but they're
But
good.
he is
Like
bullshit.
they're a good
Like,
way to.
His entire MO
Yeah, he
is
is.
corporate bullshit.
Oh yeah, but he's also like a really good way of trying to grind into Thornton. If Thornton really cared about Madison in this case, it's a way to like grind into him and like make him really bad about it. And by the way, here's her dead body on the news. Mike, could you not like pick her up and take her out of there? I mean, seriously, that would like double whammy. Number one, she wouldn't be laying on the darn floor or whatever, and number two, she wouldn't be the big newsworthy item boosting up Leland's plan. But that feels like a really, really weird bit. Like, it's just so strange. Like, I know he has to run away from the police and carrying a person is really hard, but still feels like a movie thing you could do.
Oh, we just got the ace in the hole conversation.
So what? How does that benefit you?
The reorganization was to benefit Hellbeck. Surveillance, airport screening tech, weapons. Mr. Marburg's little crusade in Rome was to remind Europe...
But yeah, here's one of the points where we see
So you killed
Hellbeck actually branching out into multiple different things. Beyond their classic things. And they're engineering these particular catastrophes and whatnot to sell those. And they're actually like new divergent technologies from their prior just generic missile stuff. And like that's actually a very good thing to have this villain be doing. And we see it in a number of the Hellbeck datas.
I like the way they animate Leyland's face in that scene. Like it's very subtle in the way that he like, you're the big hero. There's a little smile across his face.
Oh, and his vocal delivery is awesome as it fades out. Like, no bombs. What'd you think about then? Oh, Leland's voice actor work is really good. Like,
voice actor work is superb, but also that's one of the few examples of really solid animation work for the team.
I mean,
I agree.
Because if you can manage to have something like subtle, like and if I'm sure they put a lot more attention into those scenes than they did into a lot of the other ones.
That very subtle, very cocky grin that he exudes when he says, "You are the big hero."
Ooh. Oh, it immediately skips here. Darn it. I really did think it to... Anyway, there's a checkpoint reach. If you hit escape right now...
This means trouble.
It just says paused. I can't back out.
You could say that.
We're having this conversation whether you want to or not.
Taipei, Rome, Moscow. As far as the agency is concerned, they've been resolved to Hellbeck's satisfaction. Perhaps not ideally, but Hellbeck's projections are optimistic.
I didn't think I had my thing on, but you can actually copy that
Not yet.
default.save, put it somewhere else, and then after this is over, paste it back in and do the conversation over.
And that means you.
Then I have to stop them. Alone.
Anyway, this is the first time we've seen Mina in person since the tutorial mission.
Yep.
Since the tutorial, not the tutorial missions with tutorial, but literally when she taught us how to fire guns.
Yeah, in the gray box. Yeah, it's almost weird because like I'm so used to just seeing the little corner, right?
I can't
Like, oh right, or on the TV.
You've been there for me since the beginning. And it sounds like Alpha Protocol isn't choosing who survives. That means you're in danger too.
Aw, how sweet.
The big important thing here is to choose dossier when you do it, of course.
Mike,
Yeah.
I mean it. We're going to be alright.
I still don't see how you can say that.
Oh, I don't believe it. But we've been doing alright so far.
If Hellbeck isn't
This
exposed,
monologue is really
if Alpha
weird with the
Protocol
fucking
isn't
beard.
exposed,
Or both.
then they'll think they've won.
Until the war begins. then everybody loses.
I like how the interactables are still visible in
Yeah,
conversations like this.
it's great.
It's extremely strange.
Oh, the best one for me was after Marburg had shot Madison. There was a little box laying around from some mook that I had killed, like just like, oh, you can pick it up for ammo or like, you know, an item or whatever. But it was just laying there next to Madison in this cutscene, Madison dead on the ground, so it made it look like she dropped it when she died. It went by so fast I didn't manage to get a screenshot of it, unfortunately. But
Your dossier, Mike. You always try to do what's right, as long as you can act on your own. So I saved you from the missile and helped you go rogue. And I purposely cut you off.
all these people reading each other's dossiers. I actually wonder if
I can't tell you, Mike.
I wonder if it would be good to do like a different means of the dossier, a different means of like collecting intel on people, where like you would kind of like a database between them, or like you search links, or like you would earn keywords that you could search up basically, and maybe you'd have to like unlock new contacts as you went on in the game rather than unlocking specific dialogue chunks, right? Like you unlock, oh, G22 is base, G22 or G22 access level 1 or whatever, and G22 access level 2. And like the way that you could search, like it'd be kind of like hyperlinked in a way, but you could search and they would give you like a couple different contacts. So for instance, if you had known about Marburg and you had access to, I don't know, you access to G22 servers and the G22 knows a lot about PCI, then you might gain the access fact of, Marburg hates Z. And so with that Z, you could use that or whatever. Or maybe just not. Maybe just be background. But you know, there'd be like stages rather than like, oh, you learn this by buying this dossier right here, right now. Just having an open market for it would be better than the way it's structured. Like the way it's structured is, you can buy Marburg intel right before you go contact the
Feel my beard, right? Mina. Feel it. Feel my beard.
You don't know what's going to happen.
You got a mop on your face. Like, I can't. See? She says can't.
I love how, like, she tells you that she knows that you, like, slept with Madison in Rome.
Yeah. Dude,
just
she's got the camera always on.
Unsexy as possible.
Dude, she's got the camera always on. I mean, you saw her show the camera off them.
But, like, that not only makes, like, this somewhat unsexy, also kind of directly makes Madison's thing a little unsexy.
Oh, it said it right. Why didn't she just shoot Thornton while he's monologuing? Oh, he was talking about Marburg. Oh, never mind.
This was a long time ago.
That would have been appropriate now.
Also, Mina made an interesting point, like that was more philosophical than like factual. Our protocol is not the United States, which I very much like that distinction.
Mike can make that
argument.
point. Mike can make that same point to Marburg. Marburg will say, like, even when countries abandon you or whatever, and or even when your country's gone totally against you, whatever. And Mike can say one of his options is, no, the people who are running the country or the people who claim to be in charge of my country that is not my country.
Yeah, the difference between the elected leaders and the actual like spirit of the country.
Or the deep state.
Don't want you to go back there. Chances are they know about you. And if so,
all right. There's another safe house I can hide out in.
This truth doesn't matter ultimately. Like, Mina will get kidnapped no matter what we do.
don't count on it.
It does feel like another one of those moments. There's several moments like this, but this is a particular one too, where it feels like there doesn't need to be a timer on this. Like, the timer doesn't help this.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think it heightens dramatic moment at all. Like,
all it does is make sure the conversation has a decent like flow to it. That's all it does.
Except does it? Because when you think about it, like that feels like too fast to answer that kind of question.
Yeah.
Like, that sounds like a really difficult question. Like, what is safer? Where do you want like someone that you care about, but also someone who is like your biggest asset, like your biggest
also real talk while we
intelligence asset.
Since that happened while we were all talking, I didn't even know what the prompt was until I actually made the choice.
Okay.
I made the choice. So
yeah, but also like it depends on how you see Mike, right? Because like a lot of things, like he would have thought about that already, right? So yeah.
See,
if
I'm always of the opinion, players haven't done that though, right?
Yeah.
And just in case
Like
you
it's
didn't figure
the
it out,
kind of
this
thing
is
that
the
I
same safe house that we did after when we came to after the Solar Area before we went to the mission hubs.
I believe it is technically in Greece.
Yeah, but this is like once you finish Solar Area, you come here and then you have your whole
Which
there are
is
3 ops.
also in the center near Saudi Arabia. No.
Yeah, I do like the distinction between like Alpha Protocol and the people of the United States who really don't even know what Alpha Protocol is, so how could they possibly approve or disapprove of it one way or the other? Like that's an interesting like philosophical conversation to have in a really good one, especially given what our choices are in the final mission. That's a very important thing to bring up at least now. They probably should have brought up earlier, admittedly, but like if you're gonna like wait, this is the time to bring that up as a possible point.
Probably, especially because of a choice really early on, like that allows you to take down Alpha Protocol or
Yeah.
not. Like if you don't agree to Shahid's terms at the beginning of the game, which is kind of on blind faith there,
Yeah.
you can't take down Alpha Protocol. Like you just don't have that option.
You can compromise with it to get rid of Leyland, or you. Oh no, you can take it down if you side with Leyland instead.
Oh, all right. I got but you can't.
But you can't do no compromise, no mercy, which is. So let me explain the choice for the audience. You have really 3, effectively a 4 choice. That 4 choice really folded into the second one. The first choice is the default, which is you ignore Alpha Protocol and focus on Leyland and take him down. The second choice is you side with Leyland and take down Alpha Protocol, kind of looks like the fall man. And there's a sub choice there where you can choose to backstab Leyland at the last minute and then just take his company from him.
And like list all the various contacts that you've made over the course of this game, which build your own Thornton
That's
Incorporated.
actually a good cutscene. But we're not gonna do that. We're gonna do the since we're gonna lay our cards out in the open. We're going to do the third choice, which is no compromise, no mercy. And that is Alpha Protocol and Halbeck both must die.
Now,
It's basically like the wild card choice from.
It is you
just kill everyone.
It's basically like there is no saving either of these ideas. They both are so corrupt and worthless that they need to be disposed of.
Oh, so you were counting
I'm
join
counting
with Leyland
Thornton Incorporated
and-
as like a side branch of the side with Leyland choice.
Sure, that seems fair.
Just because you can't do that unless you've already chosen to side with Leyland.
Yeah.
And we will actually team
Also,
next.
the real problem about siding with Leland is that you don't get to punch him in the face. You do get to blow him up if you want, but
Yeah.
punching him in the face is one of the most satisfying moments of
We
the
will
game.
probably do the head slam. Because I really need to do that to a corporate executive in the year of Mario Lord 2019.
You mean the year 12,019 of the human era?
Yeah, in the common era. You're right.
No, HE. 12,019 HE. Human era or Holocene era?
Oh,
What about
okay.
Anthropocene?
Yeah, it's from at the start of the or whatever. From like the first agricultural revolution or
Yeah.
I'll post it there.
11,650 years before present.
Yeah.
After the
But,
last glacial.
Well, you have to be careful about before present because before present actually means before 1950.
Oh, right. I forgot
And,
about that.
With that said, this is the end of Closure Alert. We're done. Alpha Protocol
What?
is finished.
No, that is actually true.
We will never go beyond this. This is the end of Alpha Protocol. There is no final mission. I'm sorry to say. I don't know why I didn't put that in the game.
I mean, they've done this before, right? Like, it's just like Coder 2. I don't know why they keep being allowed to do this.
I still might recreate our save from Disclosure Alert so that we can finish that if we wanted.
If you want to
I
stream
don't
it,
know.
I can post it on YouTube later.
Oh no, I'm not. I'm not going to stream that shit. I don't want anybody to think that I was willfully making the choices that Aldowyn made. No. If we're streaming something, I'm going in blank slate for sure alert. Which is the third. So after this episode is done, you're going to post this up, and then we're going to be like, we're going to be back next week finale, and then 5 years are going to pass, and then I'm going to have to start it up and go through the whole series, and then we're going to get to the end, and then maybe I'll do it.
If there was a hypothetical finale to this series, it would, at the very minimum, start next week. If that happened, but as you know, Alpha Protocol, this is the end of the game. We're done.
So three of the 4 people in chat have no idea what we're talking about because they've never seen Disclosure Alert.
So I'll see you guys in 3 to 5 years when anaphysik will take over and we will replay Off Protocol again.
Over under on the lumberjack beard.
And I will know even less about the game. I was completely forgotten.
It's true. It's true. The first time Aldowyn had played the game like twice, or maybe that was his second time. This time, Aldowyn's only played the game once, and then the next time Aldowyn had played the game like 0 or maybe -1 times. He'll actually be so confused about the levels that he'll be like, "Wait, Rome? You mean like on Mars?"
Because there will be a Rome on Mars.
The turtle will simply be closed, says etc.
Just so we're clear, I have to. I feel like I have to do a playthrough, not just to complete it full circle but because there is, in fact, a dialogue option in this game labeled closure. And I don't think we can access it on this run because it does not yet come up. And even if we could, I don't want us to because I want us to show off other dialogue that we've set up beforehand. But the playthrough that I would make, it would be different than the previous ones because it's something that we hadn't done before.
And for those of you who
have to side with
are watching this and are unaware of the joke that we've been riffing on for the past 10 minutes, this series was created because we did a previous series 5 years ago called Disclosure Alert,
that long.
where we were playing Alpha Protocol and we got to this exact point and we were just about to start the finale, and then for some reason, and I forget why, it was like a series of factors. It wasn't just one reason, there was a bunch of them.
Yeah, we were having trouble before that, and yeah.
The whole thing fell apart right as you're about to finish the series off. That's partly why we're here, is to kind of finish what we started, but also redo what we did.
Yeah, closure.
Wait. We've been supposed to be redoing what we did?
Every time.
I have not done a single French or Russian accent, or Italian for that matter.
Why?
And every time I think about that, I think about how much of a different person I am to the person I was 5 years ago.
It's been a long ass 5 years.
Yeah. Holy shit, it's been a long ass 2 years, let alone 5.
Yeah.
But, in all sincerity, I think this is a good place to stop the stream for now.
Oh, yeah, clearly.
And next week we will start talking to our contacts and establish a plan for the end game. Take care, guys, and I will see you next time. Hopefully next week, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Indeed. And thank you for watching Closure Alert. This has been anaphysik, Aldowyn, and
Good night.